Okay, so I want you to start by picturing a construction site. You've got the blueprints for this massive skyscraper. I mean, we were talking 80 stories, chrome, glass, a helipad on the roof. It's ambitious. But when you walk onto the site to see the crew, there are no cranes. There are no steel beams. It's just a couple of guys standing there with a hammer, a bag of nails, and maybe a few rolls of duct tape.
That is a terrifying image. That is not a skyscraper. That is a lawsuit waiting to happen and probably a collapse.
It sounds ridiculous when you visualize it that way, right? But that is exactly the tension we're exploring in this deep dive. We're looking at the gap between the ambition of an entrepreneur, someone who wants those $10,000 a month, the global brand, the massive events,
Right.
and the actual toolkit they're using to build it.
It is the classic conflict, isn't it? The front of house versus the back of house. Marketing is the sexy architectural rendering. It's what everyone wants to talk about. It's the Instagram post. But systems. Systems are the plumbing. Systems are the steel girders.
And the core argument from our sources today is that while marketing gets attention, systems are what actually get paid.
Systems get paid. I think that is going to be our mantra for this conversation. To guide us through this, we are analyzing a really dense, practical conversation between two people who have actually lived this transition. We have Erica Bates, who calls herself the architect of virtual spaces, and she's sitting down with Meredith Walsh.
And Meredith is such a perfect case study for this because she isn't speaking from theory or a textbook. She is the founder of FowJam Festival. She literally took a backyard fundraiser and scaled it into a multi-day festival that has pulled in nearly $500,000 in ticket sales. That number, 500,000, that's significant because it changes the stakes. We aren't talking about a side hustle or a hobby anymore. But she didn't start there. And I think that's where we need to begin, with the messy middle, or really the messy beginning. Because the source material takes us back to 2014. And it wasn't exactly a high-tech operation, was it?
Far from it. This is what we call the chaos phase.
Yeah.
Meredith's origin story is actually quite sweet. She had been volunteering in Tanzania at a school that was, literally built in someone's backyard. So she came home inspired by that community effort and decided to launch FowJam in her own backyard as a fundraiser.
Which is how so many great things start.
Yeah.
Pure passion, a desire to do good.
Exactly. But passion doesn't organize spreadsheets. For the first 4 years, the system was basically vibes and yoga mats. Meredith admits it was functionally chaotic. She was manually checking emails, manually taking payments, maybe, writing things down in a notebook or checking a Google Sheet that hadn't been updated in 3 days.
It sounds exhausting just listening to it. And Erica had a similar experience, right? She mentions in the source that she tried to host a New Year's Eve event back in 2019.
Right, and she got rejected by 20 different venues. 20, that is a lot of no.
That is brutal. But that rejection actually pushed her to pivot to virtual events right
before the world locked down in 2020. So both of them understand the scrappy phase. They've been there.
But the crucial insight Meredith shares is about the ceiling you hit when you stay scrappy. Why can't you just stay in that vibes phase forever?
Because eventually scrappy becomes a liability. Meredith realized around year 5 that despite all the fun and despite the people showing up, she didn't actually own her business. She didn't have a customer relationship management system, CRM. She didn't have organized data on her attendees. She was just hosting cool parties. If Instagram shut down or her email provider locked her out, she had nothing.
That is the difference between a promoter and a business owner. A promoter fills a room. A business owner builds an asset.
Precisely. And the other side of that ceiling is personal burnout. If you are the human API, if you are manually copying data from a PayPal notification to a spreadsheet and then manually typing out a confirmation email, you cannot scale. You can handle 10 people that way. You cannot handle 1,000.
That brings us to the fix. And I really appreciated that they didn't just talk in platitudes here. They named names. They compared specific software stacks. And there was one comparison Meredith made about ticketing platforms that I think we need to break down, because the math is honestly shocking.
You're referring to the Ticket Tailor versus Eventbrite showdown?
Yes. Let's look at that, because I think a lot of people default to the big names like Eventbrite just because they recognize the logo.
Yeah.
It feels safe.
It is the default choice. Or people go the other way and try to use a free WordPress plugin to save money. Meredith tried the plugin route first. It was a disaster. Tickets not delivering, support tickets piling up, people showing up at the gate with no proof of purchase. It's the classic, you get what you pay for, nightmare.
So she needed a professional solution. But instead of Eventbrite, she went with Ticket Tailor. Why? I mean, what is the difference?
It comes down to margin and business models. Eventbrite and platforms like it typically charge a percentage of your ticket price, often around 10% when you factor in all the credit card processing fees. Ticket Tailor, at least at the time of this recording, charged a flat fee. Meredith was paying around 89 cents per ticket.
Okay, let's pause and really do the math on that because I want to make sure we get the scale of this.
Yeah.
If you were selling a $100 ticket, Eventbrite is taking roughly $10. Ticket Tailor is taking less than $1.
Correct. Now multiply that by $500,000 in sales.
That is tens of thousands of dollars in difference.
Exactly. We are talking about $50,000 in fees versus maybe $4,000 or $5,000. That is a full-time employee's salary. That is your marketing budget for the entire next year. That is pure profit leaking out of the business just because you chose the wrong tool.
That is a huge wake-up call. This is what they mean when they say architect. An architect understands the cost of materials at scale. A hobbyist just grabs whatever is easiest to sign up for on a Tuesday afternoon.
Right. And this philosophy extends beyond just ticketing. They spent a lot of time discussing the all-in-one solution versus the Frankenstein stack.
The Frankenstein stack is where you have like 12 different tabs open.
Right.
And you're trying to remember the password for all of them.
And none of them talk to each other. You have your email marketing in one place, your contracts in another, your calendar in a third. Meredith calls this being a human Zapier. You know Zapier, the automation tool that connects apps? Well, in this scenario, you are the glitchy software trying to connect everything.
I think everyone listening has been the human Zapier at some point. It's exhausting. You spend half your day just moving information around.
It's soul-crushing, so they advocate for consolidation. For the live event side, Meredith highlighted a platform called EventMe. It handles maps, schedules, vendor applications, everything in one house. And for the coaching or online business side, they talked about Funnel Gorgeous.
Which is a great name, by the way, but what is it actually?
Well, it represents a really interesting trend in software. It's essentially a white label version of Go High Level.
Can we clarify that term, white label? Because that sounds a bit like generic cereal.
In software, it's actually a good thing. Go High Level is a massive, very powerful CRM and marketing automation platform. It can do almost anything, but because it can do anything, it's complicated. It's like jumping into the cockpit of a 747. White labeling means another company, in this case Funnel Gorgeous, takes that technology, puts their own branding and a simplified specific interface on top of it, and sells it as a tailored solution.
So Funnel Gorgeous takes the heavy machinery of Go High Level, but just packages it specifically for course creators and coaches?
Exactly. They strip away the buttons you don't need and highlight the ones you do, and the benefit is just sanity. You can see if a vendor has applied, if they've signed the contract, and if they've paid the invoice all on one screen. You aren't tab switching. It frees up your brain to actually be creative.
Speaking of things that break your brain, we have to talk about the watermark effect. Meredith dropped a bit of a truth bomb about branding that might sting for some listeners, but I think it's valid.
This was the sassy part of the conversation. She was talking about seeing powered by MailChimp in a footer or a generic free Canva template that hasn't been customized.
Her take was basically, I am judging you, which feels harsh. Is it really that big of a deal?
It sounds harsh, but look at it from the perspective of a high-ticket buyer. Meredith's argument is, if you are asking a client to invest $5,000 in your coaching program or your VIP festival experience, but you aren't willing to invest $20 a month to remove a watermark from your own business, there is a disconnect.
It signals a lack of belief in your own product. It's like walking into a luxury boutique and seeing that they've used duct tape to fix the carpet. It just feels temporary.
Temporary is the word. It signals risk. It tells the buyer's subconscious, this person might not be here next month. And in the online world, trust is the only currency you have. If you look like a hobbyist, you will get paid like a hobbyist. They also talked about magic links in this same vein.
Oof, magic links. I know exactly what you mean. You try to log into a course, and instead of a password, it says, we sent a link to your email. Click that to log in. Erica hates them.
And she is right to hate them. I mean, think about the user journey. You are excited to learn. You go to the login page. Then you are told to leave. You have to open your email inbox. What is in your inbox? Distractions. 3 other newsletters, a bill, a message from your mom. By the time you find the magic link, you've forgotten why you logged in.
It kills the momentum.
It destroys it. Every extra click is a chance for the customer to bail. A professional infrastructure, a branded checkout page that matches your website colors, a seamless login with a saved password. It creates an imprint of stability. It tells the buyer, I take this seriously, so I will take you seriously.
It's really about removing friction. The systems should be invisible to the user. If they notice the system, it's usually because it's broken or annoying.
Well said. Good systems are invisible.
Now, I want to pivot to the workflow side of things. We've got the tech stack, we've got the branding, but how do we actually get the work done? Everyone is talking about AI, but Erica and Meredith seem to have a very grounded take on it. They weren't in the let the robot do everything camp.
No, and I found that refreshing. Meredith was very clear. AI is a tool, not a replacement. She uses it for brainstorming, coming up with 50 different titles for a workshop, or finding a new marketing angle. But she gave a strict warning against copy pasting.
She said you can always taste the AI, right?
It has a specific flavor. It's usually overly enthusiastic, uses certain buzzwords like unleash or elevate too much, and it lacks nuance. It lacks the human soul, as she put it. If you are building a personal brand, you cannot outsource your personality to a robot. You have to put the meat on the bones.
But where the AI really shined in this discussion was in Erica's content recycling workflow. She laid out a standard operating procedure, an SOP that was honestly brilliant. Walk us through that, because I think a lot of listeners could use this immediately.
This is a masterclass in leverage. So Erica uses a tool called CRISP. KRISP, most people know it for noise cancellation, blocking out the dog barking in the background of your Zoom call. But she uses it for its transcripts.
So she records a conversation, maybe just her talking through an idea.
Exactly. She talks it out. Maybe she records herself coaching a client with permission, or she just rants into a microphone for 10 minutes about a topic she knows well. CRISP transcribes it. Then she feeds that transcript into an AI tool and says, turn this into a blog post, now turn it into a newsletter, now give me 5 LinkedIn posts and 3 tweets based on this.
So she isn't staring at a blinking cursor on a blank screen. She's starting with her own voice.
Right. The meat is her own ideas. The AI just formats it. And then, this is the kicker, she uses a scheduler called Metrical, and she schedules evergreen content to recycle.
What does that mean in practice, recycling?
It means that a really good post she wrote 3 months ago is set to automatically post again today, and maybe again in 90 days.
Isn't that cheating or repetitive?
Not at all. Think about social media algorithms. Only a tiny fraction of your audience sees any given post, and even if they did see it 3 months ago, they've likely forgotten it. The goal is to stop creating from scratch every single day and start multiplying what already exists. If you have done the work once, why let it die in the feed after 24 hours?
That is so smart. We have this obsession with new content, but the audience just wants good content.
Exactly. And this connects back to the core theme of the episode, capacity. You cannot hit $10,000 months if you are writing every tweet from scratch and manually sending every invoice. You literally run out of hours. You hit the ceiling.
That's the concept of preloading they discussed. To structure for high revenue, 10, 20, 50,000 a month, the work has to be done before the client shows up.
Explain that preloading idea a bit more. How does that look different from a normal job?
Well, think about a vending machine versus a chef. A chef has to be there to cook the meal every time an order comes in. That's active work. A vending machine is preloaded. The transaction happens whether the owner is there or not. They talked about the need for an offer stack that includes things like courses or digital downloads.
Things that can sell while you are asleep or while you are running your festival.
Precisely. If the only way you make money is by being physically present on a Zoom call, you don't have a scalable business. You have a job, and probably a very demanding job that you can't take a vacation from, because the moment you stop working, the money stops flowing.
And this is actually what Meredith is teaching now, right? She's taking this systems mindset and applying it to event creators specifically.
Yes, she mentioned her Event Authority Mastermind launching in March. And the hook is really interesting. She teaches people to generate cash flow before the event happens.
Which is the opposite of how it usually works in the event world. Usually you bleed money on venues, catering, insurance, and you just pray you sell enough tickets at the door to break even. It's so high risk.
Right. That's the scrambling model. She is teaching the architect model. You build the machine, the offer stack, the automated marketing, the systems, so that the event is funded before you even open the doors.
That creates so much freedom. You can actually enjoy the event because you aren't stressing about the bank balance. You aren't chasing people for ticket money at the door.
And that is the ultimate payoff of all this tech talk. It's not about being a nerd for software. It's not about loving spreadsheets. It's about being a human who can rest.
It really comes down to one core takeaway for me. Technology isn't just about convenience. It is about capacity. You cannot hold a sophisticated 6-figure business in a bucket that was meant for a hobby. the bucket will break.
And when the bucket breaks, usually the founder breaks with it.
Exactly. The systems are what create the container for the success you say you want. If you build a small container, you will stay small.
Yes.
If you build a large reinforced container, you can grow into it.
So here is the question we want to leave you with today, and we want you to be honest with yourself. Audit your own business. Look at your workflows. Look at those 12 open tabs in your browser right now. And ask yourself, are you building a machine that works while you sleep? Or are you building a cage that collapses the moment you take a day off?
Because if you are the only thing holding it up, it's a cage.
A sobering thought, but a necessary one. If you found yourself wincing a little during this deep dive, that's probably a sign it's time to upgrade your toolkit.
Absolutely. Put down the duct tape.
Put down the duct tape, grab the blueprints. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.